Child, listen to me, for I speak not to frighten you, but to awaken the deepest part of your soul. When I speak of your heart, I do not speak of the flesh that beats within your chest, but the spiritual heart that carries your purpose, your identity, your calling, and the very breath of destiny that I myself placed within you. You are walking through an hour where the pressures around you have been increasing, and there are forces that desire your spiritual heart to collapse under the weight of fear, burdens, confusion, and betrayal. But I am speaking now to stop the collapse, to interrupt the breaking, to strengthen what has been weakening, and to breathe again into what has been suffocating. For you have been carrying weights that I did not assign to you. You have allowed voices that do not belong to me to echo within your soul, and these voices have pressed upon your inner heart until you felt moments where your strength was slipping, your hope was thinning, and your vision was fading. But hear me, your spiritual heart has been under attack not because you are weak, but because you are chosen. The enemy attacks the heart because the heart is where my word resides. If he can shake the heart, he believes he can silence your calling. If he can crush the heart, he believes he can stop the flow of revelation. If he can seize the heart, he believes he can suffocate your purpose. But he has miscalculated, for I am stepping into this moment to revive the heart that has been under pressure and to restore the strength that seemed lost. The spiritual heart attack that has been forming is the accumulation of wounds you never addressed, the bitterness you tried to bury, the fear you tried to silence, and the disappointments you carried as if they were normal burdens. But nothing about your burden has been normal. You have silently endured far more than others see. You have stood firm in moments where your inner world was trembling, and nobody around you knew the intensity of the battle you faced. They saw your face, but not your fight. They saw your steps, but not the weight tied to your ankles. They saw your smile, but not the storms that were roaring behind the scenes of your life. I saw it. I watched every moment where your heart was struck by words that pierced deeper than arrows. I watched every betrayal that you shrugged off, pretending it did not hurt. I watched every season where hope grew thin, and yet you kept walking, believing that somehow I would intervene. Child, this message comes not as judgment, but as rescue. I speak because I see what is trying to suffocate you spiritually. I speak because you have dismissed the signs of spiritual fatigue. I speak because you have been running with a heart that has been breaking without letting me mend it. Do you not know that I am the one who binds the brokenhearted? Do you not understand that nothing escapes my eyes? You think your tears were unnoticed, but every tear that touched your pillow cried out to me louder than your words ever could. I saw you in the quiet hours when your spirit trembled and your mind wrestled thoughts that tried to drown your faith. I saw when you tried to convince yourself that you were strong, ignoring the tremors inside you. I saw the spiritual arteries of your soul clogged by unresolved hurts, disappointments, and pressures that no human could ever understand. But I am telling you now, your spiritual heart is not meant to carry decay. Your heart is not meant to be poisoned by the disappointments of yesterday. Your heart is not meant to collapse under the pressure of the warfare around you. So I, the Lord your God, am intervening. I am opening your eyes to what you overlooked. I am exposing the spiritual attack that sought to suffocate you. I am revealing the trap before it snaps shut, for the enemy has been whispering subtle lies, trying to convince you that you are alone, that you are weak, that you are failing, that you are forgotten. These whispers were designed to tighten around your heart, to squeeze your hope, to crush your faith slowly, silently, methodically. But my voice enters now like a surge of life, interrupting every whisper of the enemy. My breath enters your inner man like a rushing wind, restoring circulation to places that were growing numb, reigniting the fire that was dim, and releasing strength into chambers of your soul that have been closed for too long. For I say to you, rise again, child. Rise again in the strength of my spirit. Rise again in the clarity of my voice. Rise again in the purpose I placed within you before time began. Do not misunderstand this moment. The heaviness you have felt is not your portion. The confusion that tried to cloud you is not your inheritance. The fatigue that tried to seize you is not the end of your story. The enemy thought he could stage a spiritual heart attack by surrounding you with chaos, pressing burdens upon you, and isolating you in moments of weakness. But I have stepped in before the collapse, speaking to realign your spiritual heartbeat with mine. There were moments where you felt your heart racing spiritually, moments where panic tried to grip your soul. There were nights where your thoughts ran wild, and your heart pounded with fear, anxiety, and uncertainty. These were not mere emotions. They were spiritual signals, warning signs that something was attacking the core of your spirit. And yet, you kept pressing without resting, pushing without pausing, running without refueling, and giving without receiving. You poured out until your inner heart began to crack. But you refused to acknowledge the cracks because you believed you had no room to stop, no time to heal, no space to breathe. But I am giving you that space now. I am granting you the grace you need to pause, to breathe again, to regain strength, to receive my healing touch. For there is a moment in every spiritual battle where the warrior must step back and allow the healer to intervene. You have fought long enough with a wounded heart. You have pushed long enough on a weakened foundation. You have endured long enough without letting me restore you. You have been functioning, but not flourishing. You have been moving, but not breathing deeply. You have been walking forward, but with a heart that has been limping. And I will not allow you to continue this way. I am doing heart surgery on your spirit. I am removing the burdens that suffocate. I am cutting away the poison of past wounds. I am healing memories that still ache. I am unclogging the blocked places where joy no longer flows. I am strengthening the chambers of your soul where hope has been fading. For the spiritual heart attack that the enemy planned will not succeed. I will strengthen what was failing. I will revive what was dying. I will restore what was damaged. And now you must listen with great seriousness, for the battle for your spiritual heart is tied to what I am about to do in your life. Every attack against your inner heart was a strategic attempt to stop the next chapter I am preparing. The enemy feared the revelation you were about to receive. He feared the breakthrough that was coming. He feared the anointing that was increasing. He feared the clarity that was forming. He feared the divine shift that was approaching. And because he could not stop me, he tried to stop you. Because he could not silence my voice, he targeted your heart, the very place where my voice echoes. Child, you are entering an hour where your heart must be guarded more than ever, for it is the wellspring of your spiritual life. It is the altar where my fire burns. It is the chamber where my secrets are whispered. It is the treasury where I place dreams, visions, and assignments. And that is why hell has fought it so fiercely. Your heart carries the blueprint of heaven for your destiny. And if hell could collapse your heart, it believed it could collapse your calling. But I am your strength. I am your healer. I am your shield. And I have preserved you for such a time as this. In this moment I am releasing peace into the places that have been trembling. I am releasing rest into the places that have been restless. I am releasing clarity into the fog that surrounded you. I am releasing courage into the corners of your soul where fear tried to build a throne. I am releasing stability into the places that felt like they were shaking. You will feel the weight lifting. You will feel the heaviness leaving. You will feel breath returning to places that felt suffocated. For my spirit is moving upon your heart, restoring rhythm, restoring strength, restoring alignment. Do not ignore this moment of healing. Do not rush past this restoration. Do not treat lightly what I am doing within you. For the days ahead require a heart fully alive, fully strengthened, fully anchored. You cannot carry the next assignment with a heart half-healed. You cannot face the next season with a heart still wounded. You cannot step into destiny with a heart still trembling under the weight of yesterday's battles. I am rebuilding your heart because I am preparing you for something greater than you have imagined. You thought this pressure came to break you, but it came to reveal what needed healing. You thought the heaviness meant something was wrong with you, but it was a sign that something deep within you needed my touch. You thought the panic, the anxiety, the trembling meant you were failing spiritually, but they were signals that the enemy had targeted your heart because of what I placed inside it. Child, listen as I take what I have spoken to you about the spiritual heart and weave it through the testimony of Scripture, For every battle you face has a shadow, a reflection, a pattern in my word. Nothing you are experiencing is isolated. Nothing that is pressed against your spiritual heart is without biblical precedent. What you feel now has been felt by those I called before you, and what I healed in them I will heal in you. For my dealings with the heart of my servants have always been consistent, and the battles of the inner man have always been the arena where destinies are shaped. The spiritual heart attack that tried to come upon you is the same strategy that the enemy used against the giants of faith, and the same way I restored them is the same way I am restoring you. Think of David, the man after my own heart. Many read his victories, but few understand the collapse that almost overtook him long before the throne was placed in his hands. David's spiritual heart was struck long before Goliath ever fell. He was rejected by his own father, overlooked by his brothers, and dismissed by those he tried to honor. And when Saul's spear flew toward him, it wasn't just a weapon in the physical realm. It was an attack meant to pierce his heart. Every betrayal, every false accusation, every moment of isolation was designed to cause a spiritual heart attack within him. The pressure that surrounded him in the caves, the fear that tried to choke him in the wilderness, the exhaustion of running from a man he only served with loyalty. These things were squeezing the spiritual arteries of his soul, trying to collapse the purpose I placed within him. But what did David cry out? My heart is overwhelmed. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I. He recognized the spiritual attack. He felt the tightening in his soul. He sensed the pressure that tried to suffocate his hope. And when he cried, I strengthened him. I restored him. I revived the heartbeat of his destiny. And child, the same restoration I gave David is the restoration I am releasing over you. The pressure you have felt is not foreign to my people. David's heart nearly collapsed under the weight of fear, betrayal, and exhaustion, but I kept him. And I am keeping you. Consider Elijah, the prophet who called down fire from heaven. Many know the fire, but they do not understand the collapse that struck his spiritual heart after the fire fell. The moment Jezebel threatened him, his heart was overwhelmed with fear. Panic invaded him so deeply that he wished for death. This was not a physical danger alone. It was a direct attack on his spiritual heart. The enemy wanted to suffocate his purpose by crushing his spirit. Elijah ran into the wilderness not because his legs were weak, but because his heart was breaking. His spiritual arteries were clogged with fear, exhaustion, isolation, and disappointment. He believed he was alone. He believed he had failed. He believed the pressure was too much. The enemy planned a spiritual heart attack to end the calling that had shaken nations. But I came gently. I restored him. I fed him. I touched him. I breathed into him again. I spoke to him not in thunder or fire, but in a whisper, calming the trembling of his heart. And child, the same whisper I gave Elijah I am giving to you. The same restoration that strengthened him for the journey ahead is the same restoration I am placing upon you now. Just as he rose again, revived in spirit, you too shall rise. Look at Moses, the man who carried the weight of millions upon his shoulders. He faced grumbling, betrayal, false accusations, and endless pressure. The people he led attacked his integrity, doubted his calling, and spoke against him. And there were moments when the weight on his heart grew so intense that he cried, "Why have you laid the burden of these people on me?" His spiritual heart was suffocating under pressure he never voiced to others. It was a silent attack, the kind that grows slowly, silently, until the heart can no longer bear it. Moses felt what you have felt, the heaviness of responsibility, the pain of being misunderstood, the exhaustion of carrying more than what seems fair. Yet I strengthened him again and again. I met him on the mountain, not because he was strong, but because he was breaking. I poured into him revelation, breath, strength, and glory. I restored his heart so he could continue. And just as Moses stood before me weary, so you too stand before me now, and I am restoring you just as I restored him. What I did for Moses I do for you. Consider Hannah, whose heart was wounded deeply by years of barrenness and mockery. Peninnah's voice was a constant arrow piercing her heart. The pressure built until she could no longer hold it inside. She wept, prayed, trembled, and poured out her soul in the temple. Her spiritual heart was breaking. Despair was tightening around her like a vice. She was suffocating under grief that nobody understood. And yet, in the moment her spiritual heart came closest to collapse, I intervened. I heard her whisper when others thought she was drunk. I saw her tears. I revived her heart. And what came next was her destiny fulfilled. Samuel, the prophet who shaped nations. Child, like Hannah, you have carried silent pain. You have battled pressures that nobody sees. You have endured mockery, misunderstanding, disappointment, and longing. But just as I revived Hannah's inner heart at the altar, I am reviving yours. The birth of what you have been waiting for is near, and the enemy attacked your heart because he feared what is about to be birthed through you. Look also at Job, whose heart was struck by loss after loss until he felt the crushing weight of grief. The enemy believed if he could collapse Job's heart, he could collapse his faith. He attacked violently, relentlessly, striking everything Job treasured. The attack was calculated to cause a complete spiritual breakdown. Yet even in his agony, Job said, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust him." And I restored his heart, doubled his blessings, and strengthened his soul more than before. You are walking through battles that resemble Job's, unexpected storms, losses, pressures that try to weaken your inner man. But just as Job's story did not end in collapse, neither will yours. I am restoring your heart not to where it was, but to greater strength, deeper faith, and brighter destiny. Consider Jonah, who ran from his calling because his heart was overwhelmed with fear, resentment, and confusion. When the storm hit and the great fish swallowed him, Jonah's spiritual heart went into a dark season. Inside the belly of the fish, Jonah's heart was suffocating under guilt and despair. But even there, in the lowest place, I revived him. His cry came up to me, and I restored him. And when he came out, he walked into his assignment with clarity and obedience. His heart returned to my will because I revived it when it was weakest. Child, you too have felt moments where confusion and pressure surrounded you like darkness. You too felt trapped in places you did not choose. But just as I revived Jonah in a place nobody thought revival could reach, I am reviving you in places nobody else sees. Think of Jeremiah, the weeping prophet. His heart was burdened with the sins and suffering of his nation. He cried out, "My heart is broken within me." His spiritual heartache was so deep that he wanted to quit his calling. But every time he tried, my fire in his heart would not allow him to stop. His enemies attacked him. His people mocked him. His spirit felt crushed. Yet I sustained him. I restored him. I strengthened his heart so he could complete the mission. The same fire that kept Jeremiah from collapsing is the same fire I am rekindling within you. The pressure you feel is not a sign of failure. It is the sign of a calling that refuses to die. Look at Peter, who declared his loyalty but fell under pressure, denying my son 3 times. In that moment, his spiritual heart collapsed. Shame crushed him. Guilt suffocated him. He wept bitterly because the attack hit the deepest part of his soul. But I did not leave him in that brokenness. After my son rose, he restored Peter with a 3-fold commission, healing each wound of his heart with a corresponding purpose. And Peter later stood with boldness that no pressure could shake. Child, the moments where you feel you have fallen short, the moments where guilt or regret have tried to choke your spirit, these are not your end. Just as I restored Peter's heart, I am restoring yours, giving you new strength, new purpose, new confidence. Think of Paul, who faced beatings, stonings, betrayals, imprisonments, and storms. He wrote that he was pressed on every side, crushed in spirit, burdened beyond measure. His spiritual heart faced unimaginable pressure, but my grace sustained him. My power flowed through his weakness. My strength was perfected in the places where he trembled. And because his inner heart remained connected to me, he fulfilled a destiny that shaped centuries. Child, you too have been pressed on every side, but just as I strengthened Paul in weakness, I am strengthening you. What tried to crush you will not end you. It will prepare you for what is coming. Every biblical story I have given you is a reflection of what is happening in your own life. The spiritual heart attack that approached David, Elijah, Moses, Hannah, Job, Jonah, Jeremiah, Peter, and Paul is the same strategy the enemy tried to use against you. He wanted your heart to fail spiritually so your calling could collapse. But what did I do for each of them? I restored them. I breathed into them. I revived them. I strengthened them. And I released them into greater destiny than before. Child, the same God is speaking to you now. The same breath is reviving you. The same restoration is flowing into you. The same healing is touching your inner heart. The same resurrection power is renewing your spirit. What happened in Scripture is happening in you now. You are being rebuilt, restored, revived, and prepared for the next chapter. The enemy struck hard because you were close to something great, but the attack failed because I intervened. Your heart will not collapse, your spirit will not faint, your purpose will not die, for as I strengthened those before you, I am strengthening you now. And just as their stories did not end in weakness, neither will yours. You will rise with a heart renewed, strengthened, and aligned with my will, and the days ahead will reveal why the enemy fought you so fiercely. For I, the Lord, have spoken.